Can you be cancelled for your dreams? Would you rather utter a racist word asleep or shit yourself?
I'd rather shit myself.
I'd rather shit myself.
Are you kidding me?
I will poop myself on stream for $100,000.
Trash taste shitting special. Let's go.
What's up, Tomato Town? Welcome back to another episode of Trash Taste
Wait,
Podcast.
what do you mean? There's no one in Tomato Town, Joe. They were wiped out.
Right.
I hope this
You're talking to nobody, Joey. You talk to nobody.
It's gonna be real awkward if this meme is dead.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out.
No, we'll bring it back.
Knowing
We'll
how
just-
fast memes fucking recycle, it's pretty obvious.
I will be singing Chug Jug till the end of the year. I swear to God.
I doubt it. I'll put money on it. You fucking won't.
By this time next month, everyone will be like, what is a chug jug? Anyway, I'm your host for this week, Joey, and with the boys, Connor and Gart, and we will not be talking about Fortnite memes today.
I mean,
Unsurprisingly.
you know me. I'm a pro Fortnite gamer.
Honestly, this is like literally the meme of like, the three children sitting on the couch. Like, what's your favorite Fortnite meme?
What's the title of that video
You are
again?
nearly
It's
30
like-
years old. What is your favorite Fortnite meme?
What's the title of that video again?
I
What is
can't
it?
remember what it is.
It's like it's something about Fortnite, right?
Yeah,
Of course.
I don't remember.
I mean, you know when you see like a meme picture and you just have no idea what the original context of that picture is?
Yeah.
Like there's so many pictures that I recognize and I have no idea.
One that I want to know is like, what's the context of that picture of like, the dude sitting next to like the three pictures of like the people having a podcast?
don't know.
I want to know the context of that because we see that all the time on our subreddit. But anyway,
I thought he was talking about that.
Yeah.
yeah, we're not going to be talking about that.
Not gonna be talking
We're going to be
about that.
talking today about YouTube stuff, I guess.
Twitter stuff? I
Again,
don't
Twitter
fucking know.
stuff, just internet
Well, I think
stuff.
there's been a few recent interesting things that have happened, but I
As-
think 'cause
as of us recording,
we're recording. I think we're like this because we're having a bit of a 2-week break of recording, so this is
Yeah.
going to be like 6 weeks from when we talk.
Yeah. So this will be all news by the time you guys are seeing it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so as of us recording this, I think what was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
YouTube, the official Twitter account on YouTube, announced an interesting update.
They are testing to see whether they should get rid. Well, testing, which when YouTube starts to test something, 90% of the time it goes through.
Yeah.
So they are testing to see if it's worth getting rid of the dislike button. Wait, not getting rid of it, but getting rid of.
Getting rid of how many dislikes are publicly seen on
Yeah.
a video, essentially.
Yeah, I hope they. It's gonna be real awkward if they revert it by the time this comes out.
I mean, I just hope.
I mean,
I want them to, though.
even if they revert it, I do want them to. I will sell on the record now that I think is a fucking stupid idea.
Oh yeah.
So, just in recent memory, what's the only things I can recall that YouTube backpedaled on was the verification thing, where
verification thing.
like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, they were like, no one's verified anymore, and
that's right.
only select channels can be
Yeah,
verified.
I think it's like only music channels, right? are verified
yeah,
or
but it was like
something.
there was only people with like 10 million subscribers weren't like eligible or something, and it was like, well, who the fuck can be verified then? There was that, and then there was the YouTube Heroes, which is the infamous
Oh
one.
my god.
Oh my fucking god! I've completely forgotten about
That was
YouTube
only like
Heroes.
last year, wasn't
No,
it?
that was like 4 years.
Wait,
ago.
what was YouTube Heroes
It
again?
was basically where they were gonna like let people be like moderators in a way.
Oh yeah, that
I think it was their
it.
answer to like Twitch
And
mods.
also
Yeah,
just
yeah.
calling it heroes is like there are heroes are free
Well, I
volunteers.
mean, as the heroes of anime, yeah, but there's just been, I don't know. I feel especially with like these, we were talking about it before this podcast started, but I feel that when YouTube suggests a change
Yeah.
or an implementation to their system, it's not so much a suggestion. It's more like, hey, so no one asked for this. And we're going to tell you right before it starts happening, but
Yeah.
this is what's happening. If you disagree with it, lol, sorry.
Yeah, they also tested one time as well, like just getting rid of people's thumbnails. Like that was the thing. Remember that? Where they were just like,
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
they-
no. It was like the animated thumbnails,
Right.
right? It was like where the previews... I mean, nowadays on YouTube, I think where it's
the
like if you
thumbnail,
hover
yeah,
over
right.
a video thumbnail, then it plays like a preview
Yeah.
of the video.
Yeah.
But before... Yeah, I remember this. They were going to get rid of the idea of thumbnails and just replace it with the previews of thumbnails.
I don't
Okay,
know if that was the intention. I could
Right.
be wrong, but I just remember there was a period where I would just log on YouTube and
Everything was moving.
everything stuff was moving, or there was just no thumbnails for anything. And then I found out later it was because of this YouTube test that they were doing on like 0.1%.
It just looked
Right.
like looked like those newspapers from Harry Potter where
Yeah.
like everything is just moving.
It's just annoying because it seems like to me as a content creator, every time YouTube takes one step forward, they just take 2 steps back. Like what was really sus about that Twitter post for me was they were just like, guys, we hear you. we hear the creator feedback. We know you asked for this.
Yeah.
We are removing the dislike button. And then every creator comes up and was like, yo, did you guys ask for this? Because I didn't ask for this.
Whose feedback is this?
Well, because anyone who's making any content that is like reasonable, like anyone who's like literally trying to make good stuff, probably isn't afraid of the dislike button.
No.
Yeah.
Because, personally, I mean, might change by this point. I've never had a video that has ever been like, less than 90%, less than 90% likes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it is less than 90% likes,
fucked up.
either you fucked up or it got recommended to an audience way outside of your usual audience, which is what I noticed. But yeah, I feel like the dislike button and like the dislike bar, at least, I think it's a really useful resource.
Yeah, and I saw, because I retweeted it with the Fallout everyone disliked this picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was reading through the replies of that tweet, and there were a lot of really like interesting points being made, being like, one of the biggest points I saw from a lot of big creators was that, well, if we get rid of the dislike bar, then how are people going to judge whether the video is like a scam, or something is like just, you don't want to waste your time on a 10-minute video.
Yeah, I think the first thing,
scam.
I think the first thing that came to mind for me was tutorial videos. The first thing, because there are so many useless fucking tutorial videos, and immediately when you click on something and the dislike bar is like it's a 50-50 ratio, you're just like, all right,
immediately close down.
Immediately close down. Go to the next one.
Like back in the day, maybe you wanted if you wanted some software that you probably should have been paying for. I remember that, the way that you would judge if it was a safe way to get it was like, all right, this video has lots of comments, lots of likes. I think this is safe. You click on another video, it's like, get this software for free. And it's like, like 80% dislikes. You're like, probably not going to download that.
Get it from this will definitely not hack your computer.com.
Yeah. For me, it's sometimes fucking Windows or some software gets this random error and you start Googling it. And for some reason, for me, I found that YouTube tutorial videos has been more useful than just Googling it and going into like specific Microsoft forums, which is just like
from like 6 years ago. And you look at it, it's like posted in 2012, no replies. It's like, cool, thanks.
And it's no replies, or you get about like, try these 10 million fixes and one of these will possibly work, right?
But then like, I mean, just go on tangent, but yeah, that's fucking bullshit as well, because sometimes they'll have like, when you have like a problem that's like very minor, and they'll be like, try uниnstalling your RAM and GPU and putting it back in. I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like at that point, I'm giving up. I'm throwing it in the trash.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like I feel that like the way YouTube tutorials work is that you search up this error code and then put it in YouTube, and like there's going to be one video that's got a positive like to dislike ratio, and 90% of the time that's the fix I'm looking for. Because every other video is just like 50-50%, right? And exactly. I feel like, to me, that's like legitimately the first thing that came to mind about removing dislikes.
It's frustrating as well, because I think there have been changes that YouTube has made that, like, because I mean, I think whenever YouTube makes any change, they get shit, like even if it's a good change.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And I think they have made some changes where everyone was shitting on it when it started, and literally a week later, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah,
right.
Like people, like, okay, I understand why they did this, and it was quite frustrating to get used to, but when they moved the comments to like, the comments used to be when you would be on a YouTube video, like this one right now, you could just scroll and the comments would be right there at the bottom.
Right.
But then they moved it so that you had to just drop down and it was right there, which at first I absolutely hated. I thought, why would you do this? And then now I'm like, this makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Now that I've gotten used to it, it's streamlined everything. If I want to read the comments, I'll open it. If I want to just, I don't have to scroll through all these fucking videos,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going, all the way back to the like OG times, right? Like I remember there was a massive uproar when YouTube changed, from the 5-star rating.
That was dog shit anyway.
To the like to dislike thing.
I mean, I understand
it happened with
the
Netflix
uproar
as well.
But I mean, I understand it, and I prefer this new YouTube layout.
Oh yeah, of course. But like, I remember back in the day, people were like, "No, I'm so used to like rating 5 stars." Now YouTubers were like, "Well, how am I going to end off the video?" I used to be able to say rate 5 stars, but now I got to like ask people to like
smash the like button.
Smash the like button. So
I do think that when they do these changes as well, like they must have some data on their end that says this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's not completely baseless, I'm sure.
Right, which is why, like, I wish that they would be like, listen,
open about it.
This is our idea, right? We're thinking,
not be like, listen, we hear you.
Not yeah.
I fucking hate that.
Don't fucking pretend like you're doing me a solid.
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
fucking do anything.
Don't pretend like you give a shit about the people who use your website.
Thanks, corporation, my
wow.
best friend.
You want to do me a solid? Reply to me when I have a fucking problem. Don't fucking tell me that you're removing dislikes. Like I give a shit. And the only reason they're fucking doing it anyway, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows they're doing it because of this, is because like, you know, a bunch of really big names got into controversies, and dislikes play a really pivotal part.
Right.
In like, because, you know, I think in YouTube, we have this way where we have like kind of decided that a YouTube or an apology, if you will, its success is based on like to dislike.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that YouTube is trying to get rid of that, where we judge a video's, you know, quality.
Well,
off
I kind
that.
of like that because, I mean, obviously, you know, I wouldn't be saying this if I was on the receiving end of it, but as someone who's seeing, you know, like an
think it's
apology
awesome
video,
as a
whatever.
viewer.
It's also cool as well because I, a lot of the times, use that as a gauge to figure out, like, the general idea of what the community thinks about this particular video, or this particular person.
Because sometimes, you know, when these apology videos come out, and I'm like, you know, it's a good apology. And I look at the video, and there's like, you know, 20,000 likes to 100,000 dislikes.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, why is
Like,
everyone like in
well,
the
then-
other?
yeah.
What did I do? Whoa, am I missing something here?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It kind of I guess it like re-justifies like, do I really fully understand the whole context of this video? Because I might think this is a good apology video, but 100,000 other people disagree. So it's kind of like, okay, well then maybe I should look into it more. But
Also, there's just something cathartic about having the dislike button there. You know, it just doesn't feel right if you're just smashing a button and it just doesn't really mean anything. It's like going onto a video, right? And just seeing the comments turned off. Nothing makes me more like angry than going on a video and not even wanting to comment on it, just wanting to see what other people think of it, and just being removed that privilege.
Yeah.
exactly.
And I just feel like as well, this is just going to lead to more shitty comments. Because if you take away one avenue, as you know, we all saw with what is it, like Twitter, right? It's just ratioing now. That's like the new thing.
Well, did Twitter ever have a dislike button? I don't think it did.
No,
did it?
No, they never had a dislike.
Yeah.
No, but what did they change? They took I feel like ratioing is a recent thing though. Why did ratioing?
Ratioing is a recent thing. Yeah.
Why did ratioing start happening?
I think it's because
Do we want to explain what ratioing is? Because I've talked to several people and they've not known what ratio is.
Well, ratioing. Oh, I mean, do you want to
On
explain?
Twitter?
I mean, yeah, it's just basically like where if a tweet is so bad, right, you'll know it's an awful tweet when there'll be like more replies than likes, and that's called ratioing because you're like the ratio is so much higher to comments.
Or
than
if a
likes.
reply to the original tweet has more likes than the
Yeah,
original tweet.
exactly.
It's like both either ways, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, if there's likes on the video, people are just going to start ratioing in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
They're just going to like up the one talking shit.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But on YouTube, you can delete the comments as well.
Right,
So
exactly.
I don't know. It just seems like a stupid idea. I don't know.
But that's the thing,
I
right?
hope
It's
they
like,
revert it.
yeah,
Who
that's the
knows?
thing, right? And I think that's why it's such a big problem for people, because I think a lot of YouTubers realize that because creators can and have the space to delete comments if they want to, and delete like hateful, you know, hurtful, negative
Which
comments.
you should be able to.
Which you should be able to, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't get rid of a dislike.
Yeah.
Right? And for a lot of people, if they go onto a YouTube video and they realize, this person who uploaded this video is getting rid of negative comments.
Yeah.
Well then, the only other way I can express how I feel about this video is to hit the dislike button.
Yeah, and another thing is like the way they framed it, like they were doing a solid for the creator, where the creator they literally said the creator can still see how many dislikes this video has, right? So it doesn't help the creator at all because they're the only ones who can still see it.
Right. I felt the exact same way when Instagram got rid of publicly showing how many likes a post has, and yet the creator can still see how many likes the post has. I'm just like, what's the difference at that point? Like, you're still putting this like pressure on the person putting it up, right?
With Instagram, I'd actually argue I think it was a good thing.
I think it was a good
think
thing.
so?
Yeah,
I think so. Because I think Instagram was like highly competitively toxic with likes. And
I guess maybe I
Yeah.
didn't think that way because I'm not part of
Yeah,
that.
no,
I'm
not into that.
I'm
but
not a like. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sorry that there is just like zero content and zero updates at all. It's a dead account.
Really says a lot when out of the three of us, I'm the most active on Instagram, and yet I post like once a month.
I just like don't like the platform that much, and I think it used to be like the likes was definitely a thing that I didn't really like at all. 'Cause I was
Yeah.
just, to me, that was like
Because it really felt like people were just like farming and just
Yeah.
like fucking. it really bred this toxic kind of environment where people were. It was literally like a clout chasing kind of platform.
Well,
where,
in question then, would you guys, if Twitter, for example, implemented the same things Instagram did, would you be okay with it?
I would actually.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like Twitter's different.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't want it on Twitter. Wait, okay. Before we get into that, though,
Yeah.
I have this like, I don't know if this is like tinfoil hat. A part of me just thinks, is YouTube just trying to shift all the drama onto like Twitter? Like you can't, because you like now, right? Let's say, you can't dislike something publicly. Let's say the comments are filtered.
Yeah.
I wonder, is YouTube just being like, go to Twitter, go and argue on Twitter. Don't fucking
I didn't think about that, but that's
because now it's, with the dislikes gone, what is there to do other than comment? And a lot of the time with these videos, people are just going to turn off comments, right?
Yeah.
Fucking great. Just even more toxicity
well,
towards Twitter.
I do wonder, because if even if it's a YouTube creator, all the shit's going down on Twitter, I wonder if YouTube can be like,
I mean, I feel like that's not going to happen because there's been such an increase in like commentary and drama channels now that the conversation is still going to stay on YouTube. It's just a lot of people maybe can only publicly comment about it on Twitter.
Also, if anything, it does really seem like, at first glance, it does seem like everyone who is following something on YouTube also uses Twitter, but that is really not the case. Like I very quickly found out that yes, even though I might have a massive following on Twitter, compared to like the people who use YouTube, it's really not a lot. It's not even the majority of people.
Yeah.
Like I remember like there was one time where like I posted something on my Twitter and then I talked about it on my YouTube and I got a lot of people being like, well, I don't use Twitter.
Yeah.
But in the back of my head, I was like, oh yeah, there are some people who don't use Twitter.
No, I mean, I think it's gotten to the point now where I've kind of had this realization where every platform is kind of like in its own, it's most of the time it's in its own bubble, right?
Yeah.
You can be really, really popular on one platform and then open an account on another platform and just have like zero followers.
I mean, there's so many like, YouTubers who have 1 million plus subs on their YouTube,
Yeah.
but then when you go onto their Twitter, they have, less than 50,000 followers.
it's
right?
like I
can't-
can't on the content, right? That's like kind of how it,
Yeah,
feels.
but like also like I can't imagine how many fucking TikTokers I just don't know about just because I'm not on the platform.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they could open a Twitter account because to me, like, the way I see Twitter now is just like fucking influencer Facebook.
It literally is. Yeah.
That's basically what it's like for me now.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I hear about a TikToker who has like fucking millions and millions of followers on TikTok, opens a Twitter, and it's like less followers than us,
Yeah.
even though they have like more followers on their own platform. And
Right.
in YouTube terms, if they had that many subscribers on like YouTube, then there would be massive creators.
Yeah.
Not all followers/subscribers are created equal, though, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like it also really depends on how much you focus and post on that platform. 'Cause,
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
And how much you're known by your audience to use that platform.
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, man, I wondered because I'm thinking like as content creators, if you're somebody who say does not give a fuck about anything, and you're like, I don't care what people say about me. I feel like the only really tool that like an audience or a platform has to kind of what's the word,
Give
police
feedback.
you or
Right.
give feedback is like public shaming almost. And I feel like getting rid of the dislike is a part of like taking away from that, because I feel like as content creators, sorry, my gosh, the only real tool other than like YouTube deleting your channel is like and it sounds bad because it sounds really fucking terrifying when you say public shaming, but that's like the only real tool that is there to like stop you from doing shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time, for a lot of people,
Yeah.
who are questionable.
Because I don't think removing the dislike button is not going to get rid of toxicity.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like
It's just going to get people to figure out other creative ways
no,
to produce that toxicity.
Exactly right. All that's going to happen is it's going to shift into another form, and I feel like to me, removing the dislike button is just so weird to me because
It's just censorship. At that
I
point.
don't think it's censorship.
I feel it's like a form of it, right? Because again, like, if there's a video where it's an apology video or something controversial and you turn off the comments and the dislikes aren't shown, then how else are you supposed to do or say anything about it?
I feel like the term censorship gets thrown around a lot nowadays.
Oh,
And
that's true.
I feel like this is pushing the definition of what censorship is, but what it is that it's removing a way for us to express ourselves and
I wonder if it's a similar case to when when the whole the kids on YouTube thing where they were like all doing like gymnastics or something. People were commenting gross things. And then YouTube's response was, well, we'll just turn off all the comments for kids' videos. And then YouTube's like, well, there's no more pedophiles on YouTube now. They're all gone.
Yeah. If you can't see the pedophiles, then they're not there, right?
What do you mean, where are they? There's no negativity on YouTube. There's no dislikes. What do you mean? This is. It almost feels like that. YouTube's like, if you just remove the option to show it publicly to anyone, it doesn't exist.
It's just the whole like, see no evil, hear no evil.
There's
right?
fucking tons of videos of kids doing probably inappropriate things on YouTube still that are fucking creeps are probably still watching them, right?
Yeah.
But now it's harder to fucking find these videos and report them because, how the fuck are you supposed to when there's not like a bunch of creepy dudes in the comments?
Unless you like actively go out and search for those videos. But
I'm
who
not
the fuck
fucking
is
doing that.
wasting their time doing that, right?
Pedophiles.
Oh yeah. I mean, like normal people who are trying to get rid of those, right? It's like no one's doing that.
I mean, there's so many circles and so many like rabbit holes that I'm sure people can fall down in YouTube that it's just like that we're just not aware of. You know, like it's because that just shows how big YouTube is as a platform and how like I feel for YouTube because when you have a platform this big, no matter what you do, there's going to be something wrong with your platform, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I feel like what they're doing with the dislike button is it's going in the wrong direction. Just because a problem exists, like removing your ability to express it or removing your ability to see that problem doesn't get rid of the problem. It just shifts it to somewhere else.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Yeah. I don't know.
I feel it's not even about like shifting it as well. It's like it's not only shifting it, but I feel more times than not, it also propels it into something like a lot more toxic and a lot more just out of control.
I think it would breed more toxicity, right? Because that just means people have to find another way.
It just means that like the people who are shouting the toxicity now just have to shout it even louder. For them to be like, well, I need people to see what I have a problem with.
Yeah, right? Because if like part of the catharsism, I don't know if that's a word, of like seeing a shitty video is just knowing that you're not the only one who agrees that this is a shitty video, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it is good when you see like this bad video or this bad apology, and you can see that the first thing you see is the dislike button and the dislike bar. Like, my God, it was great seeing like YouTube rewinds and just seeing that everyone collectively agreed that it was just a train wreck, right? Sorry, YouTube, but it was.
I love how a lot of the comments as well were like, "Oh man, YouTube was just salty that they got ratio."
Like I don't think that was a reason on record, but it was funny.
It was a good meme. It was a good
the
meme.
reason on record. Like, this is the official reason. We're salty.
Corporates at YouTube are like, "Fuck, I can't believe people would hate our product like this."
Susan's just like, I'm never gonna forgive them. I cannot believe it. After all these years, she's just been planning this for years, waiting for like the right person to be cancelled to be like, okay, now's the time to implement it.
Now we have an excuse to implement it.
I wonder if they were like, there was just a YouTube meeting. They're like, guys, everyone's hating on cancel culture right now. Let's be the ones to end cancel culture. Let's remove the dislike button. And they're like, oh my God, you're a genius. They're gonna love. All the YouTubers are gonna love this.
Who would have thought it was that easy?
They can't be cancelled anymore. There's no dislikes. Why is everyone hating this? What is happening? I thought we were doing a good thing.
I thought you guys hated cancel
culture.
culture.
We're removing negativity. What? That's what it feels like.
It really is.
Because like before this, I would say that actually I think YouTube was in a pretty healthy state.
Yeah, Twitter was fucked, but YouTube was good. Like,
YouTube was good.
Like Twitter was like toxic and obviously felt a bit vile sometimes, but YouTube just felt like just a dislike and that was it.
It was just it was a nice balance.
Yeah, it was a nice little finger. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, fuck you. Okay, I'll get on with my day now. You know, and like I think they have done a lot of positive changes. I do like the changes they did to the copyright system. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was before. I like the fact that you have to like specifically put a timestamp of what part of your video is being copyrighted. Yeah. And as a creator, you can still remove that part that's being copyright striked and have no effect on your channel. I think that's the best balance that we could have hoped for.
And when you appeal for it, it like goes the money you make from that video now goes into this limbo state where it doesn't go to the creator and it doesn't go to the supposed copyright holder.
Yeah, right? that was a good change.
Which is fucking fantastic. It's like we've been wanting that for years now, and YouTube was like, "We've heard your feedback."
I don't know. To be fair, that probably should have happened in the beginning.
Well, yeah, of course.
Kind of.
I mean, it should have happened in the beginning. But what I'm saying is, if
they eventually did it,
they eventually did it, and it felt like this change, the changes they're making now, is just unnecessary because nobody asked for this. And I think right now, before this, as a content creator, I was pretty happy with YouTube as a platform. You know, you knew what you could get away with, you knew what you couldn't get away with. You know, if I feel like right now, if one of your video gets demonetized, aside from trash taste videos, because
I don't know why half the videos that got demonetized got demonetized.
But
because
like most of the time, if I upload something and it's a 10 to 15 minute, I know which videos are more high risk to get demonetized, and I know most of the time it's kind of on me for making that video subject. And then you have trash taste, where for some reason some of our podcast episodes just get demonetized, and we hit and it's just like we hit the appeal button, and I guarantee the person who's like reviewing the content did not watch the entire 2
they're
hours.
like, oh fuck, it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Jim, you're gonna watch the whole thing? No, fuck it. We'll just leave yellow then. Well, what's weird about the trash taste episodes is that I think on record we have about like maybe 5 or 6 of the episodes now that are still demonetized, but it's 5 or 6 episodes that shouldn't have been demonetized.
Yeah,
like we look back at it and we're like, I don't know what part of this video flagged what, but we have like a bunch of other videos and episodes where it's like, these are the ones, if anything, that should have been demonetized.
Yeah.
But they're not for some reason.
Like the Combini episode that got demonetized,
yeah,
right?
the Combini episode got demonetized, and yet the hentai episode is still monetized.
Dude.
Don't tell them.
Oh, sorry, the fancy font episode one is still monetized. Yeah,
the Greek letter episode.
yeah. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The one time, like, one day I think to myself, okay, I figured out what exactly it is that YouTube does not like about whatever video it is that flags their demonetization system. And then the next day I'm like, never mind. I don't know what you want.
Because another thing I've noticed about YouTube recently is in a positive light, man, when did YouTube comments get really good? Is that just me?
What do you mean?
What do you mean good?
And the comment section right now, like you click on a random meme video and the comments are always golden. And it didn't used to be that way, because it used to be like this one overused joke in every comment section, but
No one. Connor.
Yeah. Like the no one.
They
joke,
were all
but-
fucking copy pastors.
Yeah. But now, I don't know if it's just me, but I think like
Yeah, pretty funny now.
yeah, like half my enjoyment when clicking on a random video is just going to the comment section.
It's weird because I feel like the whole, like, you know, commenting in a meme format in a meme video, it's just like, I don't know, people are just thinking to themselves, okay, in order for me to stand out in this absolute cesspool of comments on this one video, I actually need to be, surprise, creative about it. Otherwise, I'm just going to get swept in with all of these other, like, meh comments. So now there's like this weird pressure to be like, if I'm going to comment on this meme video, I got to make it a fucking banger joke. Otherwise, no one's going to like it and it's just going to get buried.
And then you haven't commented in the first hour, so you're not going to be on the top comments anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
I know that none of you watch porn, right?
No, of course not. Ew.
But just in case you have any friends that do, you'll want to pay attention to this. With everything going on in the world, governments have increased their surveillance. They're using your devices to track your location, movements, and in many countries, your internet activity.
Disgusting.
You don't want to be literally caught with your pants down, do you? And one of the best ways to keep your online browsing activity private is by using ExpressVPN.
When you use ExpressVPN, your internet connection is rerouted through a secure, encrypted server so you can surf the web anonymously without anyone looking over your shoulder.
I know you're probably thinking that all you have to do is use incognito mode and no one can see that you've watched every last hentai video on Pornhub.
Wait, that's not how it works?
You're wrong. Again, Joey.
No!
Even when you're using incognito mode, your internet provider like Comcast or AT&T can see every single website you visit. And if you live on campus or use shared Wi-Fi, your network admin can too. It's kind of scary.
That's why I use ExpressVPN whenever I go online, and I recommend all of you do the same. Without ExpressVPN, you're giving people a free license to peek over your shoulder and frankly see all the freaky shit you're looking at.
I will not stand for that, and that's why I will get ExpressVPN. So protect your privacy today and get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Visit expressvpn.com/trashtaste. That's expressvpn.com/trashtaste
For free 3 months on a 1-year package. It's an insane deal. So what are you waiting for? Go and visit expressvpn.com/trashtaste to learn more.
Back to the episode.
So I'm curious, as content creators and YouTubers, who have not given their feedback,
As influencers, Gotta hate that word.
who have not actually given their feedback to YouTube, is there anything you would like to say to YouTube to improve the platform? Is there any actual feedback you would like to give to YouTube And hopefully they'll actually hear us.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, because like for me, I don't know. There's another system that's just been recently implemented, and it's the checking system.
Yeah.
Like I uploaded a video recently, and so for those of you who don't know, when you upload a video, YouTube used to do like some pre-checks to make sure it was like content friendly and content's monetizable. Now those checks for absolutely no reason just take an hour plus.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it's like this new system is in beta or whatever, but
I heard nothing about this. They weren't transparent about that at all.
Yeah. I remember like the first time it happened on one of my videos, I was like, oh no, am I in trouble?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what's going on? Like, why are they like
diagnosing?
Yeah,
video.
why are they like fucking like enhance this video to be like, we got to find at least one frame where we could fucking sick this guy.
I don't know. I don't know who the fuck is in charge of PR, but like, why does it always feel that when they like tell us something, finally they tell us something, it's like just the dumbest shit. Like we didn't need to know that the dislikes are being removed. Probably.
Yeah.
How about you just reply to my emails when I'm like having a problem? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's just the one thing that has consistently been an issue that I think everyone talks about, which is like communication and the fact that when you have an issue that could be very simple, it just becomes 10 times more difficult because YouTube is just like, fuck you, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you know, it's not like you're not making a decent money for YouTube, you know. And if it's your living, it feels like, well, you know.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, and that's the part where I can't exactly be like, wow, YouTube, I can't believe you ignore us like that, because I mean, fuck, like, how many channels are there now that have over 1 million subs, right?
No, yeah.
Like already that's like thousands and thousands, and there's probably all of those YouTubers probably have at least one period in their life where they're like, I need you to reply to me. So it's like, I feel
like how often do you need to email YouTube for help? Like once a year at most, right?
Well, yeah, like maybe once or twice a year.
So then, like at that level, right? Let's say if there is like some kind of mythical barrier, it's like 1 million subs, you get to have someone. That doesn't seem too unreasonable to me. But also, I feel like it's something that YouTube just doesn't want to do either. Like they don't want to fuck with that.
And again, like, you know, that would be fine if it was only those like 1 million plus subs who even have access to the YouTube email, right?
Yeah.
But literally, you know, you could have a channel with fucking 10 subs, be like, YouTube, why did you delete my video? Please help, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah, because most of the, you know, if you are a YouTuber, right, you'll probably follow an account called Team YouTube on Twitter,
Yeah.
which is like YouTube customer support, but not on their own fucking platform.
yeah, but it's a bot.
and you know, you might tweet them something that gets like tons of attention, tons of stuff, and then they won't reply to it, but they'll be replying to someone who's like a bunch of other people who are like, hey, I got locked out of my account, and they're like, oh well, here's how you can do it.
It's
And
a bit fucked that
like,
in order to get YouTube's attention, you literally have to ratio them.
No, you do. I mean, you have to spam them. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, you do. It's like, you just got ratio. YouTube's like, fuck, you got me. All right, we'll help you out.
It's like,
bro.
how well can you ratio? That's how quickly we will reply to your email.
But also, you know, like I've heard people who have gotten immense amount of help just because they, you know, went to like one YouTube event, met a YouTube employee, and then they all pull strings for you.
Yeah.
Right. And that feels like it's like being in like fucking prison. It's like, well, your mate knows the prison guard, so you're not going to get shanked.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, how is that fair? Like, I'm stuck in this system, and I have to work with you.
Yeah.
And I can't fucking do
Like,
anything.
maybe I don't want to go to your fucking workshop, YouTube. Have you thought about that? Maybe I just want some help because my video got wronged.
Because
Right?
the only time I ever got help from YouTube was because I got very lucky, and I had a really good partner manager who was super like. I think at the time they were new to YouTube, and they were super down to like really be in depth and talk with me and be like, hey, what do you need? What do you need help with? And they were very nice and helped me out a lot. You know, and I was just sitting there the whole time I was getting all this help. I was like, oh my God, like I sent how many fucking emails, did so many other things, reached out to so many people. All it took was just one YouTube employee who was nice to me, who recommended me to like the engineering team or whatever.
Yeah.
And all my problems got fixed. And it's like, this is so dumb that this is what it takes. That I have to be like, I have to have a man on the inside to help me out.
You need a double agent.
It's like, you know, and they don't work there anymore, so I don't even have the help anymore. So now I'm fucked if I have an issue.
So
I
then
gotta
you're back
like,
to square on, right?
I just gotta like cry on Twitter, and it's like, I hate doing that. I don't want to be a child.
Right.
Do you know one feature on YouTube I do genuinely want removed?
What?
And I don't know if I would be the only one here. Your video is this ranked out of 10 of your previous 10 videos.
No.
I understand it does serve a use, but I don't know.
I'm like indifferent to it because it's like, it depends on how well the video did, really. You know, where it's like
the point,
yeah,
Joey.
where it's
That's
like
the point.
where it's like if I see a video and it's like your video got less views from your frequent viewers, 9 out of 10. When it's just like fuck this system, but then when it's like 1 out of 10 and you see those fireworks, you're like, damn, I'm good.
I think we've explained the system about before.
Yeah,
Just to recap real quickly, YouTube ranks your videos and how they're doing against your other videos. The past 10 videos, it ranks them 1 out of 10. 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. I actually quite like it.
You like
as
it?
much as I hate it, I like it. I think it's good. You know, I remember. Did you just have like an estimate in your head of what was good views?
Yeah. For me, it was like if I get so and so views in the first 24 hours, good view. If it's over that, great video. Below that, bad video.
The problem with that is that you know, your average of what I expect a video to get is never static, and that number is always changing. And I think it's good because I don't know what I should be aiming for, and at least this has kind of helped me like set expectations and figure out, okay, you know, it's been a really good way of figuring out personally. All right, if something's number 10, all right, let me go and reevaluate that. Yeah, it fucking sucks. And I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I genuinely do think it was a really fucking good video that got fucked just by one reason or another. But most of the time, I do feel like it's been really helpful. As much as it makes me want to just like quit YouTube.
I feel though like
just
it's kind of a double-edged sword in that case though, because I remember where, you know, when you have like say a really fucking good streak, right? Of like 1 to 2 months of worth of videos that are just banger after banger after banger. That's like all overperforming.
It's like the stock market. You're bubbling, Jay.
Right.
The
And then
bubble's gonna pop.
you know the fall's coming.
Yeah,
You're just
and then you're like, I'm expecting the fall. Where's the fall? And then you wake up the next morning and your newest video is like 9 out of 10 or even like a 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, shit. This is the end of my career.
So here's what you do.
But then when you look at that video, like in retrospect, if you just say, screw it to the other 9 videos, let me just look at this video on its own.
Right.
And it's actually doing okay. It just feels like the video's doing crap because your other 9 videos were just overperforming, right?
Yeah.
You want to hear a big brain strat? Just make a shit video. Get it? Just make a shit video, right?
You purposely make a 10 out of 10.
Here's what I do, right? Every now and then, you know, as much as I think all my ideas are, you know, mostly good, sometimes I'll make a video and it comes out shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? Fine. Have a 10 out of 10. Put my expectations down. Right?
Reset the expectations.
I'm like, let's humble myself for a moment here. Let's just upload a shit video. I've uploaded videos where I thought like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then like, I've also had the opposite happen where I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10 video. And I'm like, this is garbage.
Really?
This is
Yeah.
unwatchable. And it literally got like 1 out of 10. And I'm like, I fucking hate it here.
Yeah.
Like, this video sucked.
I've had that before as
The
well.
worst ones are like, damn, this is going to be a banger video. 9 out of 10.
Oh, nothing feels worse than that.
Nothing
man.
feels worse,
Nothing feels worse.
Like my entire, like I do check that in the morning once the video goes up. I see that and I'm just like, entire day ruined.
Yeah,
just like that.
I guess what I think is that maybe like I do see the usefulness in it, so I don't think it should be removed, but I think it should be harder to find because it's like front and center.
It is literally the first thing you see.
Literally the first thing you see when you log in, right, to your account, and you're like YouTube's either giving you a clap or being like, "Son, I expected better from you. What the fuck is wrong?"
Man, I don't know. I can't. I think it's all right. I think where it is fine. Honestly,
I think it's just how you like personally perceive it, right?
I think it very much takes you have to kind of take your emotions out of it a little bit to really appreciate it. I think. Which sounds so robotic. You have to be like, I think you just have to appreciate the data for what it is. Like,
I mean,
all it is neatly packaging the truth you're hiding from yourself. In a way that is digestible within 10 seconds. You know what I mean?
I think, you know, that's the what's it, healthy advice to be like, yo, you
just get over it. Just not be sad.
Stop being sad.
Just don't be emotional. Just why are you feeling emotions? Because like, you know,
it's just your livelihood. Fuck off.
I mean, we've talked about before, like how, you know, a lot of YouTubers before said they don't care about the views, but you know, you do have like, as much as you want to think that you are not emotionally attached to your content and the numbers around your content, you do care.
It's your job.
At some level, you do care, and it's not like I think you would have to be like a heartless robot to make something you're proud of and not care about how many people view it. Right?
The way I see it, it's like I don't care if I spill my drink. But I care if I spill my drink and it wrecks my PC and fucks everything up, right? Like I feel like there's an acceptable amount of fucking up that I'm like, I'll deal with that, right? If I get 10 out of 10, all right, you know, it happens. Something's got to be 10 out of 10.
Well,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
2 10 out of 10s in a row. I'm like, all right, okay. You know, it happens sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
3 10 out of 10. I'm okay, all right, well, okay, what is going on?
Yeah.
That's when it starts to affect me.
That's
But the first one, I don't really let it affect me. I'm like, you know what? Like, just statistics are just saying that this is going to happen eventually. Like,
Right. No, I completely get that, right? Like, of course, eventually you're going to have to get a
I
10
love
out of 10.
math, and, you know, I appreciate
No,
math.
I do too. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
I
But like, you know, I know that eventually this streak or whatever it is I'm on is gonna eventually run out, right?
Yeah, and you know, even then, if you think about it, right, the more you're getting 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, all you're doing is making it closer and closer.
Right.
So if you're getting 1 out of 10s or 10 out of 10s every time, you're making a like famine or feast situation, which is fine. But what I'm at right now, at least my past few videos, have all been around like give or take like minimal percentage away from each other. Like the difference between 3rd and 8th for me is nothing.
Yeah.
So like at that point, I'm like, I don't even feel bad about any of it. So I'm like 9th or 3rd, it's barely any difference to me. So why is YouTube trying to make you fucking feel bad about it? Stop that. YouTube.
No, but because there's another factor that I feel like this doesn't take like account for, and that's like a long-term performance of a video. Because some of my videos that have been a 9, 10 out of 10 have gone on to grow into be like some of my most popular videos. And I feel like what this system like really emphasizes is how well a video does short term. Whereas YouTube, as like a content creator who's been on the platform for a very long time, I know that short term performance doesn't mean a lot. But like no matter what, no matter if I make a video that I'm proud of and I think it's going to perform well long term, I still feel shit about it if it just is that 9 or 10 out of 10.
You know what
right?
we need 1 out of your whole channel uploads, like 1 out of like 1,000 or whatever, how many uploads you have.
Right.
So
I mean,
like,
I think that's just going onto the videos and looking up most popular. Right? Like,
but then you'll always feel good because you'll never have like a lowest one ever again because you'll never have less views. You know what I mean? Like YouTube, come on, I'm giving
well, it's
you.
like whenever you're feeling bad, you're just like, let me just go check out my most viewed videos of all time. You know
like-
what? I still got it.
Because like, okay, like I don't know if us talking about this, I don't know how the viewers feel about this being like, wow, this is such a first world problems nowadays. Like, Jesus Christ, they're complaining about this, but the reason like I think about it a lot is because before this, I really did not give a shit about like I didn't not that I didn't give a shit. I didn't really put as much focus on my mental health until I started working in a creative industry.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh shit, my mental health actually matters when it comes to my work. Where before I would just like grind out my job, feel like shit, but it would be easy, right?
And then drink the sadness away at home, right?
And then drink the sadness away, or just like fucking wait for the weekend. You live for the weekend, you reset. But now it's like a constant, okay, I actually have to care about this thing. Otherwise it will literally affect how well I'm performing at my job.
I have no more weekends and I'm constantly home.
And I'm not saying like, you know, if you have bad mental health, then you'll have an easy time doing your job. But it's just like in a creative job, you really see the effects of having bad mental health, which is why to me, a system like this, to me, is like you get more L's than you get more than W's, in my opinion.
No, of course, absolutely.
And it's a system where it's like you get that one W like 3 times out of 10.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's
7
also
times out
because,
of
you know,
10.
you're fighting in a system that you have absolutely no control over, right? It's like you can't control whether a video gets a 10 or a 1. Like, it's just how it is, right? So when you do get that 1 or you do get that dub, it's like fucking 300 winning against the Persian Empire, right? It's like, oh shit. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but fuck me, I'll take it, you know?
Leonardo's pulling through.
Yeah, literally.
You know, there's another feature on the whole rating your videos and how they perform thing, which I don't actually quite like because I think it's just the language they use is like fuck off.
Yeah.
Right.
Is where it's like this video is performing worse than usual.
Yeah. I hate that.
And it's like my mum talking. I'm like I wish I could just put it in like another language. Like fuck off, I don't want to read this shit.
Yeah.
It's like that passive aggressive note that's left on your fridge when you're living in university, right?
It's like motherfucker. I know how to read a graph.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need you to tell me. It's like there's just one curve that is lower than the other.
Yeah.
This curve is lower than the other. That means it's doing worse. And I'm like, no shit, it's doing. That's typically how graphs work. It tells you information.
What I hate is that it starts off with like the layman's terms of like this is performing worse than usual, and then it goes on to be like it's performing 40%, 7% less. It's like you could have just got rid of that first part. You could have just said it's performing 47% less, and I would have.
It's the pandering language that YouTube tries to use of like, yeah, we care about you. Like,
We hear you.
you know, like,
We hear you.
We hear
like
you.
this isn't an intervention, but it could be.
Yeah.
So sort your shit out. It's frustrating.
How do you guys feel about the algorithm itself?
I don't give a fuck anymore.
I don't even know what it is at this point. Like, again, it's
You know,
like...
when you grow, right, you give a fuck. You're like, you like, write that down. Anytime Matt Pat would say anything, you're like, fuck, write that down.
Yeah,
write that
whenever
down.
you're growing, you're like, well, shit. I mean, I need to be listening to this. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck in my sub count forever. But when you get to a certain point and you can just kind of make whatever the hell you want, it's just like, I feel like I figured it out. And then some days it's just like, nope, that's not how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every creator, at least that has been around for a while, and I feel like this is probably like a reason why you do stay around a while, is that you just stop valuing like getting crazy sub growth.
Yeah.
And just being like, I just want to make good shit that just maintains what I have. I don't think you need to keep growing. We will keep growing.
Yeah.
But it's not something I really care about.
Well, that's my mentality of it. It's like, at the end of the day, if I see that I have more subs at the end of the day than I did at the beginning of the day, whether that's 1 sub or 10,000 subs, it's like, well, I'm still here, I guess.
Because like I feel like as a YouTuber, it's the hard part is getting to around like 100K to 500K subscribers. But I feel like because luck can play such a big part in that and like getting your videos on the algorithm itself. But I feel like once you get to around that size, it becomes more predictable than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
Because at that point it becomes more like a game, right? Where you know what's going to perform well. You kind of know what's going to perform well, and sometimes you get this lucky hit where you're just like, I don't know why this video is doing so well. But most of the time, if you get to past 100K, you can kind of predict what you need to do to grow.
Yeah.
If you understand the system, at least.
Yeah,
if you understand the platform.
This episode is sponsored by Mack Weldon.
Gamers, this year, spring is going to hit a little different. Because we're all starting to finally get outside and see friends again.
No matter where your adventures take you, bring the comfort and style of Mack Weldon along for the ride. Trust me, your closet is going to thank you.
Whether it's their hoodies, polos, tees, or active shorts, everything in the Mack Weldon collection mixes and matches seamlessly to fit in with any other trendy products you have. I'm actually wearing the Mack Weldon underwear right now.
Socks, shirts, hoodies, underwear, polos, or active shorts, Mack Weldon promises comfort and a consistent fit.
And with the Weldon Blue program, a totally free loyalty program, level 1 gets you free shipping for life. And once you reach level 2 by spending $200, you get 20% off every order for the next year.
And don't forget about the Mack Weldon guarantee. Mack Weldon wants you to be comfortable. So if you don't like your first pair of underwear, you can keep them. And they'll still refund you, no questions asked.
So, what are you waiting for? For 20% off your first order, visit mackweldon.com/trashtaste and enter promo code TRASHTASTE. That's mackweldon.com/trashtaste, promo code TRASHTASTE for 20% off.
Mack Weldon, reinventing men's basics.
Back to the episode.
I feel like it's almost like to get to the million, you have to go through like the proving grounds of sorts, right? Like to get to that size, you have to consistently prove to YouTube that you can make content that is engaging to people. And then I feel like you can just kind of be like, all right, well, I feel like it feels like less effort because you just know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So you feel like I put less thought into things. So I'm like, well, I know that won't work inherently. Like just by looking at stuff, I'm like, that's a bad thumbnail. That's a bad title.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of like not take it easy, but you can focus more on just having a healthy work schedule.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we said this before 100 times, and I'm sure everyone can figure it out. When you first start out, it's brutal the hours you put in.
Oh yeah, of course.
For nothing.
But I also like
like $2 if you're lucky.
But I also like I remember back in the day when I was still growing, I never once thought to myself, that's a good title, or that's a bad title. That's a bad thumbnail.
I just tried to explain the video.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, that's
I was just like,
no,
here is image of game with number in the corner. Episode 7.
Yeah,
Done.
I'd be like the Sebastian call where the girl gets excited.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, that's not a good title, is it? And I started changing it up.
Yeah. But past you is like, well, I mean, now people know what this video is, right? It's perfect.
Yeah.
No, I feel like the platform has changed a lot since we started growing.
You could get away with doing the parts before. You can't do parts.
No, not anymore.
You can't do video parts now.
Unless you have like a massive series that people are really waiting on.
Right.
Yeah.
We say parts, well, fucking Trash Taste is parts.
Yeah, we've literally put numbers on each of our episodes.
That's just for ease, isn't it? To keep track of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's parts, but you can enjoy each part. I mean, I don't even call it a part. It's an episode number, right?
Yeah.
And you can enjoy each episode by itself, and then there are also people who are just like totally ingrained in like the trash taste lore, whatever the fuck that is. I go onto our subreddit sometimes, and I'm just like, man, the amount of layers that new like viewers would have to understand just to get this one meme is fucking ridiculous.
We literally have a chronological order and like a fucking like lore order. It's like, no, it's watching order and chronological order.
Because like the trash taste lore, like watching our subreddit goes beyond just our channel now, and it's just like everyone we've ever interacted with is now part of the trash taste lore.
True.
It's hilarious.
And I find it impressive how people have just like been able to create this like, because it's not even logically laid out. People just have this unwritten understanding that this is part of the trash taste lore and part of the trash taste group.
The only other like group I've seen this dedicated is like people who are like into the Nasuverse, right? It's like it's just like,
wow, just call me out, Joe. Call me out like that.
It's the fate
It's
lore.
the fate.
Yeah, it's like they're fucking pulling it from like literally nowhere that has anything to do with anything. Being like, well, I mean, God did say this thing on this like tiny like YouTubers podcast like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this has a connection somewhere to one of these episodes. Right?
It's weird, man. It feels like the first time on YouTube where people like actively care about what I'm doing. Like, doesn't that sound strange? Like before, I just felt like no one gave a shit what I was up to.
Right.
I just do my own thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I feel like people like actually like watch when I do something. I'm like, whoa, this is weird.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I've noticed that whenever I go into the subreddit, it's like half of these posts have nothing to do with the actual trash taste episodes. There's like it's either drawn from like someone's Twitter or someone's Twitch or a guest's Twitter or a guest's Twitch. It's like or like a friend of one of the hosts. It's like, what?
I'm just kind of cool though.
I mean, we're not saying this is a bad thing.
It's dope as fuck.
I'm just like,
I just find it really interesting that it became like that.
What I find really interesting that people are able to follow along with this, where there's no fucking coherent watch order, you know. Like we've gone to the point where you can watch every episode of Trash Taste and still not understand everything going on in the subreddit, right? Because then you have to follow our content, you have to follow other people's content, other people's Twitter, and I'm just like, God fucking damn, man, respect to you.
Yeah,
respect
honestly,
to you at that
it's
point.
cool.
I'm just so confused. I'm on this podcast and I don't know the law. I can't keep up with the shit that's going on.
I don't know what's canon and what's not canon anymore.
Like what is canon, what is not canon. It's just I just view it as one of the people in like the fucking law, and I'm just like, damn man, what is going on right now?
I guess I did say or do that. I don't know.
Everyone's just calling me a VTuber simp now. That's all they call me now. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's been the hot meme. We just dated this episode again by just saying that right now the big hot meme on the Trash Day subreddit is Connor making every VTuber he interacts with into a Connor simp, essentially. Which is hilarious because you were I've seen this fucking screenshot everywhere whenever someone mentions that like you're the VTuber simp now, being like, this is one screenshot that just says, I don't understand VTubers.
I still kind of don't. Like,
meanwhile, every VTuber is like, well, I understand you.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy collaborating with VTubers and talking to them. I think mainly from the aspect of like, you know, I don't particularly care about the character themselves or who they're playing.
Yeah.
I think it's just a content creator myself. I find it really interesting what it takes to play a character like that permanently.
Yeah.
And it's normally, you know, when you talk to the VTubers, if I talk to them offline, you know, you normally get some really interesting bits of information just about how, you know, how they like prepare or how they think about it. And I just find that really fascinating. And then I think, you know, when you're collaborating with VTuber, I don't know why. I think there's a really interesting dynamic that you can work off really well if it's one VTuber and one like IRL person.
Yeah.
Where, although I think a lot of maybe diehard VTuber fans would think like, no, never. You know, I'm sure they're
3D
playing
and
out
2D
there.
do not mix.
I think there is some really interesting room for like really fun and interesting collaborations that come across because of the 2D 3D mix.
Well, I mean,
I completely agree because like I kind of remember when Ladybeard was on like a few weeks ago, I guess. But I remember like hearing his story and hearing how he goes about, you know, his character and his stage presence and everything like that. I was just like, yeah, I kind of think VTubers, I said VTubers were wrestling with waifus, and after talking to Ladybeard, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of agree with myself more now.
Cognitive dissonance. I found something that proves my point. Thus, it is correct. No, I do agree. You know, I mean, I've spoken to plenty of VTubers, and you know, you hear so many different reasons as why they became VTubers. Like, oh, I just wanted easy money, or I really like this character. I've always, or you know, I can't do anything with my face. I'm too anxious, or you know, everyone has their own reason, and it's really fucking cool to hear about that and get to know the people behind it sometimes.
I feel though, like, especially recently, like, you know, maybe still in Japan, there might still be that thing of, oh, you know, 2D and 3D shouldn't mix, you know, like an IRL and VTuber should never do stuff together because it breaks the immersion, blah, blah, blah. But I feel in the West, especially recently, I feel that idea is slowly starting to fade because, especially, you know, if we look at like VShojo, right? Like they're doing a lot more like collaborations with IRL streamers. Like Nyanas did that whole thing where they did a tour of Japan, right? And that was IRL. And I think just yesterday, as of this episode, Anthony Padilla did like I spent a day with VTubers. They had like a bunch.
They actually had a clip of Trash Taste of the Cali episode on.
Oh really?
On that video.
And I just feel like at least in the West, you know, there still might be a lot of like diehard VTuber fans who don't want that illusion to be broken or whatever. But I feel the majority of them are kind of just like, well, I mean, let's not kid ourselves, right? Like, these are also people, and you know, I think it's cool to see this like really weird two different worlds completely clashing with one another in a really cool way.
Because like I will say, like, I have been watching less VTubers as like 2021 has rolled around.
Right.
Part of the reason of that is that anime has gotten really, really good again, so I've just had less time.
But sorry, unscripted waifus. Back to
the scripted ones.
Back to the scripted ones. But also, it's less that I've just been watching less VTubers, but I've just been watching more streamers in general now, and not even watching streams, but watching like the stream highlights and the stream content that's been posted on YouTube.
Right.
Because I feel like there is a definite difference between Hololive and VShojo, right? Because I feel like VShojo are VTubers who are streamers.
Yeah.
And I feel like Hololive is definitely more like treated as idols.
Yeah.
And what I found is that I kind of more gravitated towards seeing VTubers as content creators. Like I just respect them as content creators more than anything. And like I've never understood idol anime or like the idol kind of industry itself. So that's why I've gravitated more towards VTubers who I think are just like, beyond anything, are just talented content creators and just do good content.
And I think that's might be one of the big reasons why nowadays I'm watching a lot of streamers from Nijisanji because, again, like, it's not so much, they kind of treat their VTubers, again, like streamers, like actual content creators, because they're not really seen. I'm sure there are people who view Nijisanji VTubers as idols, quote unquote, but I feel just been in like a lot of live streams of all sorts of different Nijisanji creators, they're definitely a lot more just people, or like streamers and content creators who are just here to have, you know, just shoot the shit and just have a fun time. And like, again, like, I feel there's like a different type of enjoyment to that, as well as, you know, how Hololive is kind of seen in that sense. And like, I'm not saying one is better than the other personally, but I just think it's like a really interesting dynamic, because people just think, oh, if you're a VTuber, you're immediately like Hololive, or you're immediately like VShojo. Like, you're just kind of thrown into this like single basket of, you are this type of content creator with this type of fan base, when in reality, it's very, very different depending on how you, I guess, treat your character. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
You know, even in Hololive, even in the Hololive agency itself, there are like a lot of streamers in Hololive are doing like very, very different content. But I think the difference is now that, you know, 2020 was the year of the VTuber, you know, or Hololive's year, right?
Because it's just like there'll be like the Zodiac, like,
the year of the VTuber.
I mean, it kind of was.
I'm year of the VTuber.
I mean, 2020 was the year of the VTuber.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the hype is, you know, I mean, obviously the viewership's still there, but I think that the craze that was there,
the growth,
it's definitely going to be harder to grow as a VTuber, even in an agency like Hololive now, because there's so much competition out there.
It's like the gold rush is already like,
the golden age is kind of over, right? Yeah.
And I think this year has really, for me, separated like VTubers, not just VTubers, but streamers who are doing like really, really interesting content and just interesting ideas versus, you know, a VTuber who, you know, doesn't put as much thought into their content, maybe, and just I was trying to find a nice way to word that, but
The good ones from the bad, is that what you're trying to say?
not the good ones from the bad, but just the ones who
The stronger ones.
the ones who really view this as like as content and just like as an entertainment platform,
and not just as like a gimmick, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like the gimmick part is over now. The gimmick era is over, and if you want to grow as a VTuber now, you need to have solid content,
Right, and I think it's because like the idea of VTubing as a gimmick now is just common knowledge now that whenever a new VTuber comes out, not as many people are like, oh my god, did you see this? Like, it's like a virtual person on my stream right now. Like, everyone knows what a VTuber is now.
I'm like so curious about where this is going to go, because I think there's like, we're in a good spot right now where I feel like it's in like the middle period, if you will.
Yeah.
Where like everything's pretty chill, everything's all good.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how the community in general will handle things like, all right, what if a VTuber wants to quit? What if a VTuber wants to be show their face and just start streaming like that?
Yeah.
When these stuff, because this hasn't happened yet. Like, do you know of any VTubers who've been like, yeah, fuck VTuber, like big VTubers, they've been like, fuck this, I'm going to show my face and do normal
I
streaming.
mean, probably the one that comes to mind is Kizna Ai, the original one.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's different though, I feel like.
I mean, she wasn't considered like a streamer. Like, she wasn't a new gen.
Yeah,
You're talking about like new gen VTubers,
I'm like
right?
the VTubers right now, right?
Yeah.
Like that,
I mean, there's been a lot of Nijisanji VTubers who have quit for no reason. Like,
I wonder if it's no reason or NDAs have been signed. You can't.
Well,
say
no,
that.
actually, there was one where she openly was like, I'm quitting just because I found something else to do. Like, it's nothing, like, I have no bad blood or anything, and I can say that contractually. I just want to quit because I have something new to do. And everybody in that fan base took it really, really well. They were like, well, it's going to suck that you're going to go, but at least all your old content is still here, right? Like, good luck, bro, kind of thing. But yeah.
But that's good. I mean, obviously, at some point, I can imagine there, because there's agencies, and agencies aren't always the best, right?
Yeah.
There's probably going to be a messy breakup, if you will, at some point, right?
Oh, I mean, there has been in the past, but I mean, obviously, I don't want to get into that shit.
I didn't even know about
I
that.
know all the messy breakups that have happened, because of agency stuff, but a lot of that is like, it's kind of just like, well, I mean, it's an agency we're dealing with, and they're trying their best to sweep everything under the rug. I think I don't even want to deal with that shit, to be honest with you.
Let's not dig that stuff.
Yeah,
up,
let's not dig that stuff up. Is right, like, it's their problem.
Yeah,
fuck it.
I won't ask.
Yeah, because like I'm just interested to see how the. I mean, I guess how the
new,
industry grows, right?
It's so new, right? Is it going to be VTuber apology videos? If so, will there be a deep sigh? Will they look into the camera? These are the things I want to know. Like, I feel like it's like rewatching YouTube like evolve, but like on like 10 times speed. Because like it's so new, and like nothing's been defined. The rules aren't set in stone. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and it's like the Wild West right now. And it's I just love watching it and just hearing about it, and just it's so fascinating for that reason. And like I said, I don't really watch VTubers. I watch my friends, because I'm like, gotta support your friends.
And because like one thing that I always think about, and one reason why I could like never be a VTuber myself, is I think about it, and like part of like what I love about being a YouTuber and making content where people know who I am is being able to meet fans and being able to meet people at conventions and stuff like that. And I just think, especially with conventions and AX stuff, and every public meeting cancelled last year and possibly this year as well. I'm sad because like I don't get to get the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't
interaction.
I don't get to get the interaction because
I never
at the
thought
end
about that.
At the end of the day, like looking at numbers means nothing to me, right? Meeting the people and meeting the fans, a lot of times it resets. Like, it reminds me the reason why I do this and why I love doing this, right?
Like months of stress can be like wiped out by like one weekend of just meeting fans. Because like, I don't know, man. It's just like it's
so wholesome.
It's like it's a rewarding experience that you'll like. It's so unique.
It gives you something tangible, right? For the work that you've done. And I just think, man, I can't imagine being a VTuber and just never being able to meet fans like in
Yeah.
person, right?
Yeah.
And just
Like
always,
knowing there's just so many people who like love
Yeah.
you and what you do,
Yeah.
and love everything about
Yeah.
you,
Yeah,
and you
and
can never say
There is
like,
there
oh,
is like weirdly no better feeling than just like minding your own business, going out, and then someone stopping you on the street being like, "I
Yeah.
fucking love you,"
yeah, exactly.
and like, because like as a because I mean, well, that sounds a bit weird out of context.
that's just like very bizarre.
That sounds weird out of context, but I have had fan relationships like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, but like as a VTuber, no one knows what you look like,
Yeah.
right? Unless you
or,
open
or
your
even
mouth.
that, or like even in some universe where you could meet fans,
Yeah.
like they would expect you to be this character.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
do they actually like you, or do they like this character
Or
you're
do they
playing?
like the
right?
character,
It's a weird dynamic that I can't imagine myself having.
well, it's like
But I guess we appreciate that, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I you know, there's some VTubers out there that are probably like the last thing they ever want to do is meet anyone,
right, and I
which
feel
I get, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
feel we can say that, you know, we might not be able to experience that, and it's sad that they can't experience that because, you know, because we've experienced, you know, fans coming up to us and liking us and praising us for who we are and
Yeah.
how we show ourselves. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. There might be some VTubers out there who have probably never experienced that, right? So they probably don't even know the joy
Yeah.
of that. They just think, well, of course, the only fan interactions I'm gonna have is people who like my character,
Only
and
fans.
that's fine. Kind of thing.
You're fucking 10 years old.
Yeah,
man.
wait, 12.
You're the most mature one here, God.
Sorry, I just completely ruined your.
You're the same. You're the same person who like plays Pokemon and is like, they said PP,
PP up.
PP up. No, but like, you know, because I feel if a VTuber went from traditional YouTubing where they get that kind of fan experience to then go on to VTubing and get a completely different type of fan experience, then sure, you know, there might be like, oh fuck, well, I mean, this fan interaction is cool, but it's not the same kind of, you know, gratification I got when it was just me in front of a camera, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
to a lot of these VTubers, they don't know any better.
Yeah.
So they're probably just like, well, yeah, of course. People like me for my character, and they probably don't give a shit, you know, for me. It's. I feel it's the same as, you know, people going up to voice actors and actresses and being like, "I love you because you played this character."
Yeah.
Right. I feel it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, to them, they were probably expecting that.
Yeah,
right?
it's weird because I obviously look at this as from a content creator's perspective, and you know, if I did ever get the chance to if I did ever get the chance to meet any VTubers that I really liked, I would like just wanted to say, hey, love the fucking content you're doing. I also find it really fascinating the kind of like mindset you have to be this kind of content creator, right? Because it's such a different field from what we're doing, and I don't know. It's just really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And just
Is this what it feels like when like a parent is like is like, I don't get this whole YouTubing thing, but it must be very difficult. I could never see myself doing it.
No, I mean that's why I really respect streamers, because they do something that I find fucking difficult to do. Like I don't know how.
And I'm sure it's vice versa for the streamer. Right?
Yeah, I
They're like,
don't know how you go home and stream sometimes, Connor. I'm just like, I go home, I'm done.
I sleep.
Yeah. I don't know how you go home and sleep. look at you. You just, I don't know. I like it. It's fun. I don't know. I like talking.
Yeah, it seems fun. It seems like the streaming sphere right now seems like it's just fun. It just seems like it's you get more chances to really collaborate and make friends as well, which is one thing I'm really jealous about.
I don't know if it's because I'm paying more attention to streaming. It just seems like it's in a really good place right now.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's funny because I think streaming is in a really good place. I think Twitch is like. We've complained about YouTube.
Twitch
My
is
God,
terrible
Twitch as a platform.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, it is almost, just from how I see it, it seems like it's almost fucking impossible to grow on Twitch as like someone who's coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys know why are all the VTubers on YouTube? Why is it mostly, at least Japanese ones? Why are they all on YouTube? and not
Because YouTube, I feel, I mean, this is just my guess, but I feel it's because YouTube to a Japanese audience is a lot more well-known than Twitch is. I feel Twitch, I mean, not to say that there aren't massive Japanese streamers on Twitch, there are. And some of them pull insane fucking numbers, but I feel it's just two completely different worlds. Like, I don't know, this is just my guess, but I feel for a regular Japanese viewer of content online, you stick only to one website and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas like you know, I feel it's like if you're a YouTube watcher, you are exclusively a YouTube watcher. If you're a Twitch watcher, you're a Twitch watcher. If you're a Nico Nico watcher, you're only on Nico Nico. Whereas I feel that same mentality doesn't work for a Western viewer, right? Like a Western viewer will be like, well, yeah, I'm going to watch some content on YouTube.
I go where the content is.
But yeah, but like I can also go onto Twitch if I want to. Right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I hardly watch any Twitch at all on the Twitch platform. But I think what's becoming more common now is like Twitch and YouTube are becoming more and more intertwined.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of some of the most popular content and some of the most original content as well right now has been Twitch highlights.
Yeah.
And that's why I've grown way more of an appreciation for Twitch. Like I still spend very little time on the platform as a consumer, but I end up consuming a lot of Twitch content on YouTube, which is why I think like one of my favorite content creators right now is probably Ludwig, where he's just doing like the subathon that he's doing right now is
insane.
Fucking insane.
Definitely over by now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. Hopefully it's over by now. My God. But
I was like, are you going to like die on camera? Like,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that when the subathon ends?
Sleeping on camera is like one of the most bizarre things for me to like think about doing.
let's do we want to explain who Ludwig is?
Yeah,
and
so
what he's doing?
Ludwig used to be very big in the Smash community. Then moved to streaming and just became like an instant hit of
Yeah.
streaming. He's very funny, very naturally charismatic.
He's just a natural born entertainer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he did a thing where every sub it adds 10 seconds, I believe. I
Something
think.
like that. Yeah.
So every time someone subscribes to his Twitch channel, 10 seconds get added, and it went up to like 70 hours at
Yeah,
one
yeah.
point. And then
So
obviously-
the big difference is that he made normally in a subathon you cap the number of hours that you can possibly stream for a time. He made the stream uncapped, and I think right now he's been streaming for over a week continuously.
it's like 2 weeks, I think.
Something
Is it
like
2
that,
weeks?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just sleeps on stream, and that's something to me that I'm like, dude, what if I just like, I like say things in my sleep. Like what?
I don't know what you say in your sleep.
But dude,
I don't want to know.
Listen. I don't say anything bad, but what if it's the one day where I say something bad? Like,
one day- when you have that
if
one
you're
nightmare.
racist in your sleep, does that count as
when you have that one racist nightmare, right?
like what if right? You're listening to that that GTA clip, all the mods of it, where they say the thing, and what if you go to bed and then you just say it out loud when you're sleeping? Can you be cancelled for being racist in your sleep?
I don't know. That's
If
okay. If
that actually happened, would you be cancelled if someone said, the thing in their sleep?
depends if you're a VTuber or not.
Yeah.
VTubers are just like that word is just like free game. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
It's every VTuber has that pass for some reason, especially if they're Japanese. But
What if you're a white guy, Ludwig's sleeping, and then he's sleep talking, and he says that, do you get cancelled?
God. There's a
I don't
part of
know.
me that says, that's ridiculous. Of course not. And then another part of me is like, nah, he would definitely get cancelled.
I'm
Can you
thinking,
be cancelled for your dreams?
That's like some George Orwell shit, dude.
Well, like, do you have control of your? What does it say about you? If you say a racist
Call
thing
up
in your,
the dream
if
police.
you say a racist thing in your dream, are you racist?
I'm about to make a dream twit longer.
Dead ass, right?
The cyber dream police.
Wait till it happens. It's gonna happen, and no one's gonna fucking know how to deal with it.
Oh my god! I'm just imagining like the plot of Inception.
Everyone-
Instead of putting in an ID, you just go in the dream just to cancel them in the dream.
There'll be
and
like,
just,
there'll be like two camps. There'll be like the camp that believes like, okay, well he just said in his dream. There'll be another thing like, I bet he's secretly awake and said it because he's racist.
Nobody says that in their sleep.
Nobody would ever say
Unless
that.
he's awake.
She's awake and racist. This is a really weird tangent. I just thought like,
I think it's a very valid thought experiment,
I
though.
I think it's a very valid.
I
thought.
wouldn't, I never do I ever want to say
I
bad
just wanted
words
to like to all respect. How the fuck was that the first thing you thought
Listen,
of when
because-
you
no,
when you
no,
saw
no,
someone
listen.
sleeping
No,
on
no, listen.
stream?
What I see when I see sleeping through stream as a content creator, I just think like everything that could go wrong.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
What
yeah.
if I shit myself in my sleep?
Everything
What if
can
I-
be taken out of context.
What
right?
if I do rip an absolute massive fart, like
Yeah.
the wettest thing, just like any of the stuff that like could reasonably happen in sleep that is totally normal, not being racist in your sleep. I don't know if that's normal. That's, probably isn't. But like
Not that I would know.
and like he takes his shirt off when he was sleeping, right?
Right,
and what if you just like because sometimes you fucking throw the sheets off or something when you're sleeping,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What if?
Oh yeah, you
what
sleep naked as well, don't you?
Well, I also, I mean, it depends.
What if I just like pop a nut on stream, right? Like,
What do you, if you get, you're lying down, you got a morning wood, big boner,
Yeah.
like right on stream, 4K. You're like, what? You get banned for that? Like, I'm just literally the stuff that you would never ever think would ever happen normally when you're sleeping,
Right.
just suddenly become like, this is my number one worry now when I'm sleeping.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
there's
it is valid. It is valid.
I mean, there's a lot of things you don't
Because you
think
can't
about.
control it, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things because with YouTube, we could easily edit stuff out if we've
Yeah.
said something,
Just want,
but
just want to say, if I shat myself, I would own it. By the way,
On stream?
I would. Yeah, I would. Shit.
yeah.
I would.
I mean, like, I feel like possibly like the worst thing that could happen on stream when you're sleeping is that you just utter a racist word. You know, I'm just thinking, yeah. If,
Would you rather utter a racist word asleep or shit yourself?
I'd rather shit myself.
I'd rather shit
Are you
myself.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Shit yourself on stream? That's great
Yeah,
content.
You're not going to get cancelled for that. If anything, you will be immortalized on the internet as the one dude
Think about the
who
amount of
shit farted himself.
Think
in his
about the
sleep.
amount of subs you'd get for shitting yourselves on stream.
I could just
Let's
see.
be honest.
I could just see it. You say something racist, you end up on Fox being like, liberals are trying to cancel this man for being racist in his
Oh
sleep.
my God, I'm just imagining what if like a VTuber shit themselves on stream. Can you imagine the super chat for that?
No, it would be like, I'm weirdly turned on. Here's $500.
It's like, thanks for that. I needed that.
How do we've gone on this a really
About
weird
the
tangent
subathon.
about the subathon. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've like talking about
Twitch
watching.
content's gone crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was talking about like watching him sleep, and just like the chat going crazy and stuff like that. I watch it and I'm like weirdly engrossed, not because he's sleeping, just because of like the reaction itself,
Yeah.
of like how active this chat is, right? And I'm just like, man, this is literally just the Truman Show. We are watching the Truman Show happen to us.
But he can't leave his room. At least in the Truman Show, he could walk around.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, this is kind of like the closest we've had to the Truman Show, and it
would drive me insane.
fascinating.
It's a fucking Black Mirror episode. It's,
It is.
It's fucked.
I mean,
Like,
it's fascinating.
yeah. But it's also like, I just find it really weird that I don't know what the mentality of people is where like you watch this dude sleeping on stream and then you think to yourself, I'm gonna drop 100 subs while he's asleep. So,
Yeah.
because like normally, I'd like to think if I dropped 100 subs, I would want him to be like, yo, thanks for the 100 subs. Like at least a tiny bit of recognition from
Yeah.
the person who I'm subbing it to, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, he's not gonna see this at all. I'm gonna just drop $500 just like that just because I can. It's like, I don't know what the mentality of it is, because like I've given subs.
I don't think anyone does at this point.
Right, because like I've gifted subs before on stream, right? In like other people's chats or whatever. But
Right.
like, dropping 100 subs on a dude who's fucking asleep. It's like, what goes through your head to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I think it's just being part of like this experience,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is you feel like the thing about Twitch that I kind of understand is like you do feel like you're being a part of something bigger than yourself, right?
Yeah,
and
true.
I feel like especially like obviously he didn't think it would be this successful. That it was a fucking genius move.
Oh
And,
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what was it like? One day in, he made like $150,000 or something. So even just, I know he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who gives a fuck about the money.
Yeah.
But I mean, fair
But-
play.
but to-
Like,
but to
he's
the-
gonna, he's-
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's also a part of me where it's like, I just threw away my humanity for $150,000, right? It's like,
Hey, fuck,
mean-
sign me the fuck up.
Are you kidding me?
Bro, how
Film
much-
every part of my life for $150,000.
Bro, I will ship myself for $150,000.
I will poop myself on stream for $100,000.
Any billionaires want to
Trash taste shitting special. Let's go.
any billionaires want to fund this?
The next Trash Taste live stream, look out for one of us shit farting live on Twitch. Jesus Christ.
I just thought of like the most cursed content I can think of.
What?
You just lock people in the room and just see who shits themselves first. You say they can't go to the toilet.
That's Mr. Beast's
Yeah, I believe
next
that's
video.
a Mr. Beast video, right?
It's
It's, like
it's
last
like-
person to shit themselves wins $1 million.
It's like Survivor, just with
Jimmy,
shit.
I just gave you a fantastic idea, bro. You don't have to give me credit for that.
Oh my god, where do we go from here?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I just find it fascinating. Where it's like, you see a content creator like Ludwig on Twitch, where he's just fucking, doing something that is not exactly the most unique thing, but it's also that one thing where it's like, well, I wouldn't fucking do it, so obviously no one's gonna do it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But I'm just like, when it gets to this point of like, yeah, I've been streaming for 2 weeks straight, like, can it go up from there? Like, what's going to be the next thing?
Because everyone's going to be waiting for the next subathon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just
And
like,
it's just going to be even longer, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, please, no.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think there'll be a subathon that'll be as popular as this because he was the first one who did it.
Yeah.
And
Unless he does it again.
I mean, even if he does it again, I feel like the hype wouldn't be as big because I don't know.
Unless it prematurely fizzles out,
yeah,
right? Where it's like,
I didn't even know when this one's gonna end yet.
right.
So who the fuck knows? I mean, it's kind of like, do you remember Twitch plays Pokemon?
Oh yeah. I was actually about to say, right?
Yeah.
Because like the last time I saw this phenomenon was during Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit I'm going to be telling my kids about.
Right.
I like, honestly, I enjoyed the Twitch Plays Pokemon experience so fucking
Hey,
much.
son, remember that time when Twitch played Pokemon? No, Dad.
But like the Ludwig thing is like, it's like Twitch Plays Pokemon, but instead of an algorithm that's just reading the chat, it's literally
Yeah.
just a dude reading everything in the chat, being like, okay, left, down,
Yeah.
up.
So to explain Twitch Plays Pokemon, like, this was how many years ago now?
God, five or
Like
6 years ago,
five or
maybe.
6 years ago, where someone made
It was an Australian dude, actually.
Was it an Australian
Yeah.
dude? So basically, someone made a program that would allow the Twitch chat to play a full game of Pokemon, right? So I think it was Pokemon Red
Yeah, it was
that
the
was
first gen
played,
Pokemon, yeah.
and basically the chat could put in their inputs, and
was
whatever
good fun.
whatever inputs were put in would be inputted into this emulator that would be played live in front
Yeah,
of
so if you
like.
typed in left in chat and then
Yeah.
entered it, then the program would in order go left.
Yeah.
But the trick is there was literally what, like
100,000.
50,000, 100,000 plus people
Watching the stream
and chatting.
and chatting.
So it's
at
like
the same
it's
time.
like giving the Game Boy to 100,000 people at once and being like, finish this game.
Yeah, and it's one of the few times where the word social experiment actually meant social experiment, right?
It reminds me of I saw a clip the other day. I was like, if the moon landing happened with Twitch chat, and then they were like literally just put like an overlay, and it's like Pog, he's landing. It's such a good video, and I imagine how much more hype would the moon landing be with a bunch of Pogs.
Oh,
in the
dude,
chat.
I
Yeah.
would absolutely be pogging
my
into
God.
chat.
This video is sponsored by LiquidIV.
When you push your body hard or just feel run down, it's extremely important to stay hydrated. Making hydration a priority helps us feel healthier on a day-to-day basis. With one stick of LiquidIV in 16 ounces of water, you get 2 to 3 times the amount of hydration as plain water.
Honestly, every time I'm hungover now, I take one of these bad boys. I honestly feel a lot better.
Well, yeah, it's like doing like water times 3, right? It's like-
It does help, actually. Memes aside. Wait, what flavors do we have, Gone?
Well, today with us we have lemon and lime and strawberry, which this one on hangovers, they taste amazing, they get you hydrated. This is what you need.
LiquidIV is so effective because of their cellular transport technology. I am not qualified to know what that means, but I feel very refreshed and hydrated after I have a stick.
So you can grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TRASHTASTE at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you get better hydration today using promo code TRASHTASTE at liquidiv.com.
Remember, bros, keep yourself hydrated. Back to the episode. I would love to see sporting events with Twitch chat. Like, can you imagine how fun the Olympics would have been if it was streamed on Twitch?
Well, it's funny you say that because someone in my Twitch chat notified me of this Twitch channel that streams the sumo on Twitch. And
Okay.
dead ass, there are people, every time one of them wins, there is dead ass just a stream of Pog that happens. And I'm just like, this is weird that people are pogging a sumo wrestler
There'll be
right
like
now.
fucking professional backseaters coming out, being like, I sumo wrestled for 10 years. This technique's pretty fucking lackluster.
Here's how I would have optimized that match.
Honestly, this is just sloppy behavior. Dude, I saw a clip that popped up on my YouTube as well, and it was like, Twitch chat goes crazy about cars stopping.
What?
And it was just like a camera that's watching a street with a stop sign.
Yeah.
And
Like a security camera footage.
Yeah. And they're just streaming it. And you see Twitch chat in the corner, and no one stops the stop sign. But then one car stops with a stop sign, and Twitch chat goes fucking crazy. I'm just like, who is watching this? Why is there hundreds of people watching this going crazy?
That's really funny.
I feel like it's the equivalent of. Do you remember the DVD logo? On like the DVD
Hit in the
screensaver,
corner.
and then like it hitting the corner. Actually, is there a stream of that?
There probably will be.
I bet there would be a stream of
fucking
that.
T there is a stream of that.
I can imagine when the DVD thing hits the corner. Twitch chat, the amount of pogs in chat, man. The amount of pogs in chat.
Every time it's so close, it's like, oh, Monkus.
But no, like, yeah, going back to Twitch Plays Pokemon, like, part of the amazing experience of that was being part of something bigger, and I just loved the lore that came out of Twitch Plays Pokemon, right?
What lore?
You weren't on the subreddit and everything like that?
I wasn't on the subreddit.
Okay,
no.
so
There's like factions forming against each other, and stuff like that.
yeah. So what happened is, it was a random game played by Twitch chat, or not random, but it was like a game played by a lot of people, and a lot of random things happened.
Yeah.
And out of this randomness, like, the community just created a kind of storyline. They created a narrative out of the chaos that was happening, right?
Of course they did.
And so we're going full circle now, because an entire lore was created out of the chaos and the randomness that was happening on Twitch Plays Pokemon. Right. And so people got invested in this narrative. People got super fucking invested in this lore.
God.
And the Helix fossil.
The Helix fossil, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I know that's where like the whole like Lord Helix meme came from.
Yeah,
but like that's the extent.
Yeah,
I
and
know
then there
of
was
it.
like, they wanted more. Some people, like half the people wanted more order, and half the people wanted the chaos.
Yeah.
And there was just like arguing and stuff, and it was quite interesting.
Yeah, the only thing I remember from Twitch Plays Pokemon is, well, they eventually finished it. I think they released their starter within like the first, I think, like hour or something.
Well,
of the game.
People were trying to sabotage.
Yeah, people were
'cause
trying to
obviously
sabotage
they
it.
were.
And then obviously the whole Lord Helix thing. But other than that, like, I don't know. At first when I heard about it, I was like, oh, I have to fucking go onto this and participate in some way, right? Like, I feel like I got to be part of this history.
Yeah.
The moment I went in and the chat is moving so fucking fast where it just looks like a blur. I'm like,
I remember I typed in a
never
command.
mind, I'm good.
I typed in a command and I was like, wow, I didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to catch it, being like, well, I didn't see it. Fuck it, whatever.
No, because like I mean, there was like so many epic moments created out of the most mundane situations. Like I remember there was this one ledge that took like fucking 8 hours to cross
I
or
remember
something
this,
like
I
that, and it was like the most epic ledge of all time. I think I watched that collectively for like 3 hours at least on my own time. And we talk about what is the mentality of people watching someone sleeping, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I just watched 3 hours of this video game character try to cross the fucking ledge. I can't act like I'm better than anyone else because I fucking did that as well.
Oh my god.
We need like a category of competitive gaming where it's like a team does like everyone gets one button on like
Oh my
a game.
God.
Like
That-
Dark Souls, but everyone gets one button each.
Well, actually, one of my friends, they're like a couple streamer, and they do split control Sekiro. So like one of them is on the mouse and the other is on the keyboard, and they beat the whole game on split controls. And I'm just like, this is the type of shit that's like, why? Why would you subject yourself to this pain? I can barely play Sekiro with both of my own hands.
Yeah.
Let alone having the fucking courage. And also like, they managed to beat the whole game without getting mad at one another. I'm like, that's not how it works. That's
Scripted.
Yeah, scripted, fake.
What's wrong with you,
What
Joey?
is wrong with you two?
Have you seen that one Twitch streamer who like plays League of Legends with the most random inputs?
Is it Ross Boons?
Is
that his name?
I don't remember, but I remember
like bananas.
Yeah, like when we
What?
played League of Legends using bananas as inputs.
Yeah, because I think it's not that difficult because you just need something that because there's only like really like 4 major buttons.
Yeah.
So you just need to have something that takes 4 inputs. And you can literally do that with anything.
Right.
But no, I mean that's why I think I've been watching more stream content right now, because I think to me as a YouTube creator, we watch a lot of YouTube, and I feel like we can definitely see the formula of good content on YouTube, and it's rare nowadays that I look at a YouTube video and I'm like, wow, that is you're doing something really original right now. Because I mean, we had a few years ago where Mr. Beast completely revolutionized the platform.
Yeah.
And now it just feels like he's the one coming up with the original ideas. Mr. Beast, like head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's someone who was someone who understood the platform, and 2, now has the resources to do the craziest ideas that literally no one else can think of doing.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck just makes a fucking burger chain for content, right? Like, who else can do that? Who else can fucking do that?
When I saw that video on my sub feed, I was like, it's a wrap, guys. Like, he just won the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kind of crazy.
yeah, like, there's, not to say there's people not doing good content on YouTube, but the amount of original ideas you can put on YouTube, I feel like is a lot less now because, one, someone with bigger resources and is like probably smarter than you is probably doing it. And two, I feel like a lot of the original content I see is now on Twitch, and I don't know if that's just because I'm not being recommended the right videos on YouTube.
Yeah, I definitely do just think that right now we're kind of in like a golden age of like Twitch creativity. Like there is just so many ideas that people thought would be like either too much effort or wouldn't, you know, reap the benefits of doing it live.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much room for error. But now people have gotten to the point, and there's enough people I feel now on Twitch that there's at least one person who's going to be like, this might be risky for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to just try it and see if it lands. And a lot of the times it does land in ways that no one was really expecting. Me like, oh, you can do that on Twitch and it be really fucking successful. Well, then I'm going to try and do it too. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel it's just like feeding the creativity to more and more streamers being like, oh, you know, I feel like we're past that point of just get in front of a camera and just start playing a game.
Yeah, we're way past that point.
I don't know if you were ever like watching Twitch when this is the thing. Like marbles was like a huge thing at one point.
Marbles?
What?
Yeah, like watching a bunch of marbles go down a course and like seeing which one won.
Like Rube Goldberg machines, or like, or
No,
just like
Chuck. It was like there was like simulations of like marbles, and people would like bet on the marbles. Like I think Ludwig did this as well.
Oh, I think Tectone did it as well.
Yeah, it's like you can assign things to like the balls, and then you just let all these balls go down, and whichever one wins, you like
Is that kind of like salty bets?
I don't know what that is.
Salty Bets is, I'm not on 100% sure about this, but I believe someone made a program, right, where they pitted two characters against each other in a fighting game. I'm not sure what the fighting game was.
I know what you're on about, because they have like fucking Sonic going against like Chun-Li or something.
Yeah.
I know what you're on about.
Yeah.
No, it's not like
and people would be betting on the winner, even though it was a completely, AI battle.
Right.
No, it was just like the streamer. I can't remember exactly because I never watched it fully, so I was really confused.
I think it's like
they were like reacting to like these marbles in virtual like games going down. It was really bizarre.
it's like horse race betting, but like
Well, yeah, but then, like I find that like stuff like that does well on Twitch chat when you're overreacting to dumb shit.
Well, I mean, that's the whole reason why at one point, or I mean, I would argue still to this day, people love watching people do gacha on stream, right? Because it's like people losing their shit to PNGs. It's like, well, of course I'm going to watch this. This is ridiculous.
I'm going to watch it and play a part of it as well.
I can say that because I've done gacha on stream and I have overreacted and it's been fucking amazing.
Oh my god, I got something.
I got the waifu! You know, it's like... Yeah, it's the same. It's the same philosophy, right? I feel,
bro. It's just a PNG, bro. It's just a PNG.
It's just PNG, man. But then the amount of pogs I'm seeing in the chat is like saying otherwise.
No, because I guess to me, the one thing you can do on Twitch or live streaming that you can't do with YouTube content is just really have this community aspect, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that I feel is getting more and more like it's before it was seen as like YouTube comments are just the thing that comes after the content. It's the reaction to the content.
Yeah.
But now like the comments itself and the reaction to the content that's being made is also part of the content itself, and that's what I see being like kind of like the future and the future of online content and how it's kind of evolving right now. And at least that's how I see it, right? Because there's like even with like Twitch streams that have been put on YouTube, you know, I feel like half the fun is lost if they don't have the Twitch chat on the content itself. Because you miss a lot of the context itself. And if it's just like a stream highlights without the Twitch chat itself, I feel like you're missing half of the content itself.
No, I absolutely agree. Like, I feel a lot of it gets taken out of context where, like, if you don't see the reaction, it doesn't seem as epic as it actually is. Like, it's still epic. Yeah. But when you see a Twitch chat on the screen going fucking crazy, you're like, oh, this is really epic.
Okay, this is an epic gamer moment right now.
I don't know if it's like placebo or whatever, but it's like the moment you see a hyped Twitch chat, suddenly you're like, well, I have to get hyped too. Fuck.
Yeah. Because when you're watching on mobile, who the fuck has the chat open on the side? Because it like squishes down.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not going to fucking watch this shit with the chat box
just like put it on the stream, and then that way it's best viewing experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, I don't watch Twitch on the phone most of the time.
I mean, you know, sometimes I want to watch Twitch, and
I'll watch it every now and then. Like if I'm on the train somewhere, you know, it's just seeing like, oh, someone's streaming, whatever.
Yeah, I guess. Do you guys watch a lot of like Twitch and live streaming itself, or do you watch the highlights?
I mostly just like jump into like one of my friends' streams. If they're streaming, just say hi, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I
but-
normally watch my mates streaming.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, so what are you up to, huh?
Yeah, it's
What's going on?
I literally use it as an excuse to just catch up with my friends. It's like I could like message you on Twitter DMs or whatever, but like you're here right now. You're gonna respond to me.
I do watch highlights too. Just not as often. I still prefer normal YouTube videos on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there's so much shit I gotta watch as well, like anime, and I love watching Netflix.
Anime? What is that?
Who watches
I
anime?
know, right?
Gross.
Who don't know her? But yeah, I want to keep doing all the things I like, so it's
Yeah.
difficult to keep up with everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's just so much content that I want to watch now, and just not enough time anymore. Like,
yeah, tell me about it.
literally can't get more first world problem than that, right?
There's just too much to do.
There's
What
too
do I
much
do?
content. There's too much content, man. Life
Yeah.
sucks in a good way.
Yeah,
In a good way, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like, did you? Okay, here's a question for you guys. Do you like when you watch YouTube and Twitch? Do you feel like it's part of your job to watch it, or do you?
No, I don't. I still feel like I'm back in 2013 watching my favorite content creators. Well, the only thing that changes now is that, oh shit, they follow me maybe on Twitter. Maybe. They probably don't, but maybe.
I don't know. Like in a way, to me, it kind of is. It's like half off for me because it's
Yeah.
like, there are some videos that just pop up in my recommended where I'm just like, this is so little to do with what I do for a job that it just becomes entertainment.
Yeah.
But then there are parts of me which are like, I could like say watch a video idea or a video that has this particular idea that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
And I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that thinks, oh, I wonder if I can use this idea that this video is using and kind of spin it in a way for my own content.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's not so much like I'm going out onto YouTube just trying to find the next idea or whatever. But sometimes there are some videos where it's just like, I could do that, but in like a kind of fun and unique way for myself, right?
Yeah, because I do that as well, where I watch YouTube, I watch Twitch. I'm constantly looking for ways to improve my own content.
Yeah.
And seeing some things that I can maybe like not one-on-one ripping someone off, but like taking an aspect and being like, I can put my own spin on that.
Right. Like, there have been moments where I've made entire videos based off ideas from like 3 or 4 completely unrelated videos and just kind of being like, I'll take this idea from this video and this idea from this completely separate video.
Yeah.
And what do you know? I've come up with something kind of cool and unique that I can work off of as well, which is kind of unique and interesting to my audience.
Yeah, because I think there's like it's really looked down upon. I don't know if it's just the creator community or even like whenever with the audience as well. Whenever you see something that kind of resembles someone else, you're just like, oh, you're just ripping off X or you're just ripping off Y. Whereas like I don't know, like to me like artists like musicians and like movie makers they're like really open about their influences and like
some of them wear the influences on their sleeves and
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are just like cool.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's looked down upon in the YouTube space because everyone's exactly the same. Everyone's been influenced by someone else on the platform, and it's really like the rarer thing is finding someone who's completely fucking original.
Right.
Yeah.
And like even to me, some of the biggest content creators, where in my minds they were just like they did something completely completely original content, like for example like Naked Jakey, or for example, he's doing something very, very different from what other people are doing. Even he says, oh yeah, I'm kind of just like JonTron on a green screen and an exercise ball,
I think he's just said I'm just a shittier JonTron on an exercise ball.
Yeah,
That's what he
yeah.
said in a video, and I'm like, I mean, you obviously like it's so obvious you were influenced by JonTron, but it doesn't matter because you're putting your own spin on it in a unique way. You're putting your own personality on it, where now this supposed thing you ripped off has just become you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really give a shit if someone does one of my video ideas.
No.
You can 100% just take it. But,
Yeah.
if you're going to 100% take the idea, it would be nice to be like, oh yeah, I got this idea from this person.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if I blatantly copy a video, I'll just be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, who was that
I
person who just blatantly copied Mr. Beast for the longest time?
Morgs.
That was it. I mean, like, on that level, it's so obvious that it's just kind of like a one-to-one copy.
Copying
Yeah.
thumbnail title, it's a little much because you might be fucking with things there, but like
Yeah.
taking the video idea is like whatever. I mean,
Right. I mean, I've seen, a bunch of YouTubers who have done videos that, I have come up with or I was known for. And but I've been okay with it because they've put their own spin on it, where it's just kind of become like, well, I know where you got influence from, but this has just become your video now, so I'm fucking okay with it.
Yeah.
If it was like one for one, like ripping using the same type of thumbnail, using the same type of title, and then the content is almost one for one, and then you don't mention the person you got it from, then I'll be like, well, that's a little bit shitty, isn't it? Like,
yeah. Because like one of the biggest questions I get asked is like, how do I go about, like, a new content creator is just like, how do I go about making content? How do I go about making original ideas and finding my own style? And like I always say, you know what? I don't see any problem with just starting by copying some of your favorite creators, right? Because you will find your own style the more you do your own content, right? But it's not something that you immediately it's not something that you immediately figure out. And even like some people do, but those are the rare people.
Yeah,
right?
Those are like the true geniuses.
Yeah,
right? It's like not everyone on YouTube is a genius.
Yeah, and I think it should be fine for creators in our field just to like wear the influence on their sleeves and just be open about it. Yeah. Like not completely copying, but like everyone has their influences and everyone continues to evolve from different people they see on the platform. At least that's how it is with me, and I think it should be fine. You know, I think everyone's being influenced with each other.
I mean, because everyone, I don't know a single YouTuber who doesn't watch YouTube.
Exactly.
Like, I mean,
it's
that's the reason why we're here.
Yeah. I mean, like I always get reminded of that Picasso quote, which is like, good artists copy, great artists steal. Right. And like a lot of people like kind of take that quote completely out of context, thinking like, well, then I'll just fucking steal the thing. But like, I actually read up on why he said that and what he meant by that, which is, a great artist steals in the sense that they take an influence and they turn it into something of their own.
Yeah.
And I feel that's very valid to any creative field, whether that be an artist or a movie producer or a YouTuber, right? Where it's like, you can get influenced by other people, but you have to do it to the point where you put your own thing on it, where it becomes your own thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really hard to do. And, great artists steal, good artists copy, like YouTubers who just copy an idea, but don't do anything creative with it are the ones that are just like, well, you're a fucking copycat, aren't you?
I think one, did you say something?
I never really thought about it much. I was just like, I just watch YouTube. I make my videos.
We're getting awfully philosophical.
I'm just sitting. I make fucking stupid videos. That's kind of how I view it. I'm just like, all right, I'll just keep uploading the same shit.
I mean, I'm like that too, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that did think about that, being like, oh god, I mean, this is a cool idea, and I want to, incorporate it and do it because it just seems like something fun to do. But I sometimes get worried, being like, are people going to come out and be like, how dare you steal this X and X's idea, right? Like,
I think about stuff like that, and then I just also remember like some of the most popular videos are like pee pee poo poo stinky. And like that sharting sound effect. So like the moment I try and get all like deep about it, I'm like, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's just people just uploading stuff that makes them hee XD. I don't fucking know.
I mean, I do think you register it at least
subconsciously.
On the subconscious level.
I definitely do.
Yeah, because I feel like when people ask, how do you like what does it take to become a successful YouTuber? A lot of things that the one thing a lot of the one thing that a lot of people don't mention is that step one, I feel like, is to watch a lot of YouTube.
Well, of course.
Like, no, because I mean, you say of course, but I know people who don't watch too much YouTubers, or if I'm just like, name 10 to 20 YouTubers you're watching right now.
They see a YouTuber on the news, they're like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about, a lot of YouTubers I know, they watch a fuck ton of YouTube, right? And it feels like there's so many subtle things that you can't really explain to someone unless they just understand the platform, because they watch a fuck ton of YouTube.
And it's not just watching a fuck ton of YouTubers, it's watching a fuck ton of different YouTubers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I could be like, name 10, YouTubers, and if all of them are the same type of content, then it's like, well, you understand that type of content. But everything else is just a complete blank to you, right?
Yeah,
you're probably not going to go very far because you'll just be recycling the same content from those 10 YouTubers.
Yeah. Or it's just like watching YouTubers who were popular like 5 years ago, right?
I still watch Ray William Johnson every day. I
strive to be. I strive to make my own =3 one day.
My day doesn't begin without a bit of Ray William.
And I just think the idea of like, yes, I would like to become a YouTuber because they are successful now, and you know,
and they make lots of money for an easy job.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I feel like step one before you even could consider becoming a YouTuber or a streamer is just to watch a fuck ton of things on that platform.
No. Step one is delete your Twitter history. You probably got some bad shit.
You don't
want to
get cancelled for that.
Get rid of that.
Privatize your
Then
Facebook.
step two is watch YouTube.
Privatize your Facebook. Delete your Twitter history.
Yeah, because I mean that's how I feel about like Instagram and TikTok, because I don't use those platforms, and I'm not gonna try to grow on those platforms because I feel like
Because you don't use it, right?
Because the first step is I don't understand it, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like, to me it's just like the hello fellow Instagrammers kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I try to like
You just turn into one of those corporate brands, right?
yeah.
It's like, yes, we understand you.
Here's more picture of my food. That's what you all like, right?
Why aren't you liking it?
But yeah, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I don't know, man. YouTube can be deep, but it can also be poo-poo pee-pee stinky. And I think that's what I've gotten out of today's episode.
What I've gotten out of today's episode is that I don't understand streaming content sometimes, and that's why I watch it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that, you know, I feel a lot of the reasons why people watch a lot of YouTube and, you know, Twitch streaming and stuff like that for people who want to get into it is because they want to understand it, right?
Just
They want to grow greater appreciation towards it. I mean, that's why I watch it.
It just fucking fascinates me, man.
Oh, dude, it's hella fascinating.
Twitch is fascinating to me now, and that's why it's probably the content that I'm watching the most right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Until I understand it fully, I'm gonna keep watching it, I guess.
You get addicted, Gone, to everything that you do.
You do tend to be like, I like this one thing now. I'm gonna like it till the end of time.
Gaunt will just come back and be like, guys, you won't believe it. I've just discovered this thing called Mahjong. And me and the boys at the r/Mahjong have been talking about all the different strats. And I've been
I'm
watching
in this photo and I don't like it.
where I've watched the movies with the boys,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just like, all right, Gaunt, calm down. And then Gaunt forgets about Mahjong the week next.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much me. Like I find I'm the kind of guy who finds it really easy just to fall into this one random rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and then I reach the bottom of that rabbit hole, and I'm just like, okay, time to find something new. And
Time to claw out of this one.
Literally
and
the
dive
Toy
into the next
Story
one.
meme of like, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you anymore. I don't know. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And the thing is, I'm so easily influenced. All it takes is just one random YouTube recommendation or one thing popping up on my Twitter to be like, I find this thing that this piques my curiosity. Let me look into this. And like a week later, I'm just like, guys, I have just consumed a week's worth of content on horse riding. Like,
Well, no, your thing right now is fucking chug jug. That's what that shit is, and I'm just like,
Dude.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'll just let him talk because by next week he'll be talking about something else. He'll be done with this rather shallow rabbit hole.
He'll get over it.
He'll get over it.
just see me in a week, guys. I've become a Fortnite gamer. I'm going to be a pro Fortnite
We
gamer.
can be pro Fortnite gamer.
But you know what I won't get over? Our patrons.
It's true. They're wonderful. Like this guy right here. What
I
a
absolutely love
beautiful
this
man.
guy. This is a rabbit hole I will never get out of.
Yes. Please feel free to fall down the trash taste rabbit hole. There is definitely a trash taste
Oh,
rabbit
absolutely. And if you want to support the show, make sure to go over to patreon.com/trash taste. Also, follow us on Twitter. Fall down the trash taste rabbit hole on our subreddit.
Ooh.
And if you hate our faces, listen to us on Spotify.
hole. Yes, let's see how deep we can make this rabbit hole go.
I just want this, like, the lore on the Trash Taste subreddit to just get absolutely fucking out of control, where it's like, they're just throwing in big YouTubers, like, doing shit. Now it's like, Felix said the word trash. We have to add that to the lore. It's got nothing to do with anything.
That's true. It should go in the law. That's
exactly.
That's noteworthy.
We always want to we just want to like expand this universe as far as it will go. I just want to get to a point where the trash taste law competes with fate law. That's
The
what
trash taste cinematic universe.
The TTCU. Oh my
Well,
god.
thank you for joining me today, Jerry.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
well,
go
thank
sleep.
you for joining me, Connor.
I've had like 3 hours of sleep today. I'm ready to die.
I feel like you're like that every week. to be honest with you.
No, this week was exceptional. I was great, and then the last half hour, I was like, whoa, I'm tired.
Yeah, I noticed. I
Well,
looked over and I'm
yeah.
like, "You gonna add to this conversation?" Connor? You're just like,
sometimes I'll just look to see if Connor wants to add something, and he's just like, I am having trouble forming words.
Yeah,
right
like
now.
the first hour and a half today, I'm like, I feel Gucci, and then the last half hour hit me like a
last
ton of
half
bricks.
hour,
I
you
don't
were
know
just
why.
like AOL loading sign.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.